Hi, my name is Jessica Hampton, and I am going to go over a brief history of what I think are some of the main topics of special education. In 1975, Congress passed the Education for All Handicapped Children Act. This was passed for all children, no matter their race or their money status. It did not matter what background they came from, what they looked like. If they had a physical or mental disability, then a public school would have to guarantee them the same opportunities that other children had. This also provided each of those children with one free meal a day. So this did help the lower class in that way, but it was not set for just them. This was the beginning of opening the special education to all aspects. It was more tailored toward just the lower class, and upper class people had to pay for it in private schools. But now public schools were told that it was for everyone. In 1990, there was something called the Individuals with Disabled Education Act. It is also called the IDA, or IDEA. It was a modification of the last thing that was passed in 1975, the Education for All Handicapped Children's Act. This let children in the classroom be more in the classroom, not in special education classrooms. It was less restrictive on what they had to do and what they had to do in the classroom and out of the classroom. It allowed the children to receive extra assistance they needed, but also let them stay in the classroom doing activities with their fellow students, which helps the child grow in more than just learning, but social aspects, which helps with many disabilities. In 2001, No Child Left Behind was started. Its original name was the Elementary and Secondary Education Act. This act requires that every school develops a plan and a routine for testing that specific child's academic skills and does not group them in a whole. It is focused more on what the child is learning and not what, as a state or a school, how they qualify. This helps the schools and the school districts and the states and the countries figure out more what each child with every disability needs. The IEP, or the Individualized Education Programs, was started in 1975. This helps every student with a physical or a learning or a anger disability or any kind of disability. It sets out a plan to help them. This is set up through the teachers, the principal, the parents, and the student. It helps figure out what is best for the student and what the school can do for them and what the parents can do to help the school along with it at home. These plans are modified every year and can be modified throughout the year too. But it all needs to be worked together with the administration and the teachers and the parents, and most importantly, the child. The Rehabilitation Act was passed in 1973, and the Americans with Disabilities Act was passed in 1990. These two acts forbid discrimination in schools because of a disability. To me, these are one of the two biggest ones. The other ones all kind of go along with this. But because of these two acts and what they've been modified to, it does not matter what is wrong with the child. They have the right to an education and a free public education. This applies to elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools. So it is K through 12. And that K through 12, the public school, is to work with the parents and for the child to further and better their education. It does not require that post-secondary school provide free education for the child or student, but the school does need to modify their class structures and the testing possibly, and where the classes might take place, and modify it all for the student. Colleges are not required that they need to give the schooling for free, but they do need to make sure that the child is able to get to the class. So if a class is on the second stories, they need to make sure that it is handicap accessible. Or if the child needs longer time to take the test, they do need to modify and possibly do after hours testing for the student. In 20 years, I think we have come so far with what we have done with special education. In 20 years, I think that the special education program as a whole will be associated with just a normal classroom. I don't really think there's going to be a specific specialty education program. I think all teachers are going to be trained more and capable of helping more students in the classrooms. I think a great way for that to possibly happen is by having co-teachers and two teachers working together, that they can possibly teach the same exact lessons at two different levels and help modify things that might need to be modified throughout the lesson. I have helped teach in classrooms like that there was 3 teachers and it was the same exact program, the same exact curriculum and everything, but it was just modified to different learning categories. I think the best thing about the special education program is that we as a society continue to grow and understand special needs better, that it's not a stigma, it's not something that the child has. It doesn't, the child is not just a child with special needs. The child is just a child, and that child deserves all the schooling and anything that will make them better. Thank you for listening to my short history of special education. Thank you.